This is Lesson 100 in Saxon's Algebra 1/2, the second edition book. The lesson is on exponents and signed numbers and how we have to be very, very careful when we're working with these. Alright, so if I see the expression 4 with an exponent of 2, I know that that means 4 squared, which means 4 times 4. 4 times itself 2 times, which would equal 16, correct? Alright, now, if I see negative 4 squared written like this, then what that indicates is the opposite of 4 squared, which would be negative 16. And the reason is because when I'm doing the squaring, notice that I didn't include the negative sign. I'm only squaring the 4, and then the negative sign is going to attach to the answer. Alright, now, if I see this enclosed in parentheses, then that means I'm going to square negative 4. So negative 4 times negative 4 equals positive 16. Alright, so there's a huge difference in this one and this one, and you have to pay attention whether there is that parentheses or not. If there is a parentheses, we say that the negative sign is protected. It's protected, it's enclosed, it's going to be included with whatever you're doing to that number. If it is not in parentheses, it is an unprotected negative, and it's just going to attach itself to the answer. So let's do a couple of examples. Example 1 says simplify. We've got negative 4 squared minus negative 3 squared minus 3 cubed. Alright, so what does this really mean? This is an unprotected negative, so I'm only squaring the 4 minus, in this one I'm squaring negative 3, and then minus. Here I'm going to cube only the number 3, not the negative sign that is with it. Alright, so we've got a negative here. 4 times 4 is 16, and then minus negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9, and then minus again. That's this minus, and then this minus. 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. So what I have really is essentially 3 negative numbers. Negative 16, negative 9, negative 27. When all my signs are the same, I know that I'm adding algebraically. So let's see, 16 plus 9 is 25. 25 and 27 is 52, and that's going to be a negative number. Alright, our second example says to simplify this expression. We have negative 3 cubed minus negative 2 cubed minus 2 squared. So let's write that out then. This would be negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3, so there, minus negative 2, negative 2, and negative 2, minus, and then here just the 2 is squared, 2 times 2. So let's go through and do the math. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9, times negative 3 is negative 27, and here negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4, Positive 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So minus negative 8, and then minus 2 times 2, which is 4. All right, because I have a negative here and a negative here, what that really means is that's going to turn that 8 into a positive. So negative 27 plus 8 minus 4. So I'm going to be adding the 27 and the 4 together for 31, and that's going to be negative, and then I'm going to subtract the 8. So 31 minus 8 is 23. Negative 31 plus 8 equals negative 23. You see that I was subtracting there because the signs are different, and then the answer takes the sign of the larger number, which would have been the 31. All right, let's do your practice problems, and then you can get started on your lesson. All right, A says to simplify this. All right, I'm going to bring that minus sign down, and this means this is protected, so I'm going to cube negative 2. I'm going to bring this minus sign down, and then this is also protected, and it's going to be squared. All right, bring this down again. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So two negatives mean that I'm going to have positive 8. All right, and then minus negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. So I have really 8 minus 4, which is 4. All right, B starts out with an unprotected negative sign, and then a protected negative sign, and another protected negative sign. So let's write it out like it should be. This 2 is going to be squared, minus negative 2 times negative 2, minus, and this is negative 2 cubed, and then let's do the math. 2 times 2 is 4. I'm going to bring that down. And then negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. So, and then negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And then this little guy right here is going to make that a positive 8. All right, negative 4 plus negative 4 is negative 8. And negative 8 plus positive 8 is going to equal 0. All right, good luck on this lesson. Be very, very careful that you pay attention to whether that negative is included in the parentheses. If you're not sure, go back to the lesson and look. Go back to your notes. You should, that front page of the lesson, the very first page, that should be in your notes, okay, all 3 of those examples, because that really spells it out clearly for you. All right, good job. I'll see you back next time for Lesson 101.